It's chaos on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers only have until September 30th at midnight to fund the government and avoid a shutdown. That's less than 2 weeks away, and the infighting among House Republicans has left Congress with a narrow path to pass a spending bill. In an attempt to appease the demands of the far-right Freedom Caucus and others, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy launched a baseless impeachment inquiry into President Biden. But his plan has backfired big time, with McCarthy's raucous caucus threatening to oust him if he doesn't cave to their demands for steep spending cuts and other concessions. For the past 9 months, we've watched this McCarthy mayhem with a mix of pity and alarm. It wasn't always this way. Not that long ago, there was a Speaker of the House who commanded respect, got things done. That Speaker was the first and only woman ever to hold the Speaker's gavel, who was able to unite her disparate caucus to pass historic legislation, like the Affordable Care Act. She is not in leadership anymore, but she's not stopping the hard work that has come to define her. Last week, she announced that she will run for re-election in 2024. If she wins, it would be her 20th term representing San Francisco in the House of Representatives. She is Speaker Emerita and California Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, and she joins me live. Speaker Pelosi, thank you very much for coming back to the Sunday Show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. First things first, before we talk about your run for re-election, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, on Meet the Press, says this, and I'm quoting you directly, him directly: Nancy Pelosi is responsible for January 6th. He is blaming you for the attack on the Capitol that he instigated. Your response?
Well, the former occupant of the White House has always been about projection. He knows he's responsible for that, so he projects it onto others. His instigation of an insurrection, an assault on our Constitution the day we were supposed to approve and we did, the work of the Electoral College, the results of the Electoral College, the assault on the Capitol building, the assault on the Constitution, the assault on our democracy. Shame on him. However, he always projects. Now, he used to say, well, she turned down my troops. No, we begged him. Chuck Schumer and I begged him to send the troops again and again. His Secretary of the Army, McCarthy, another McCarthy, and acting Secretary of Defense just made it, oh, there are too many obstacles, it's bureaucratic, it's this, we can't do it. They know their exposure, so they project.
And so he says also in that interview, Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 soldiers.
Yeah, well, these Trumpites were attacking the Capitol, fighting the police, threatening my life and the life of the vice president. We're turning down the troops. I mean, there's a sickness here. There has to be an intervention, and that intervention has to be the election, which we have to win. And that's one of the reasons I'm running again, to fight for our democracy, which is at stake if he's on the ballot.
Well, let's talk about why. I was going to ask you, why are you running again? Is it a feeling of responsibility that you can't step away now because democracy is at stake?
Well, two things. First of all, for 20 years, my district, my people of San Francisco, have given me the latitude, 20 years, to be speaker or leader. That meant for 20 years, every week, every day, I was responsible for what happened on the floor in terms of developing legislation or countering what they were doing. Every day it was about the re-elections, it was about the policy, the politics, and the aspirations of our members, meeting the needs of the American people. And so now we have some challenges in our district, which we will deal with. But I can't say now that the glory days are not there, I'm leaving. There was no honor that my members could have given me, whether it was speaker, leader, or whip, that matches the thrill I get when I go onto the floor and say I speak for the people of San Francisco.
When you mentioned the challenges that the people of San Francisco face, what are you talking about?
Right then, I was just talking about something that we have around the country, the issue of fentanyl. It is a deadly challenge to the safety of people. It brings violence with it when people sell it. And so we're engaged in something with the Department of Defense called the Operation Overdrive to address that. And it's a small part of the city, but the staff matter of blocks. But the press decides that they're going to have a field day talking about San Francisco. We have to recover from COVID in terms of people working from home. But at the same time, we have to deal with this issue in a way that could be a model for the country.
Let me try to talk about two topics in one question. 2024 and the president's reelection effort, and this impeachment inquiry that Speaker McCarthy has called for. Your reaction to this inquiry, which from all we've seen, there's no evidence that there's any wrongdoing or connection between the president and his
If I just may, before we go to that, because I'm not sure what the time will be, let me just say that as we are here, we have workers on strike in a number of industries in our country. But right now, you said you were going to have Sean Fain,
the UAW president.
UAW
yes.
president. This is really something so important to all of us in the country. These workers, now just think of this. The CEOs of these companies make probably in 1 month what these workers make in a lifetime. That's just unjust. Years ago, it was 20 times. Now it's 10 times that, over 200 times as much for the CEO as it is for the worker. Those profits that they say they are rewarding would not happen without the workers. So let us pray that they will make some progress on this, respectful of the workers. Sherrod Brown says it's over 300 times as much. But whatever it is, 1 month pay for the CEO, a lifetime paid to the workers. Just not fair. So getting back to this, impeachment is deadly serious. This is a remedy that our founders put in the Constitution for a rogue official. They could foresee we would have a rogue president of the United States. They couldn't foresee that we'd have a rogue president and a rogue Senate, rogue Congress. But nonetheless, for them to use this in the frivolous way that they are is really a disservice to our country, to our Constitution. They have they've had months, almost this whole year, the whole time, 9 months, going on 9 months of investigations. The rest, they've come up with nothing. When we engaged in impeaching the president, because we had no choice, we were accusing him of high crimes and misdemeanors, which were evident, and even Republican senators voted for in terms of Ukraine and in terms of the assault on the Capitol. But this is almost silly, except that it's so serious.
Is it something that the Biden White House should worry about politically?
Well, I think you always have to. The time is our most important commodity. It's finite. And doing this is taking away from meeting the needs of the American people. We have a serious budget debate coming up. Imagine the insensitivity of the Republicans in the House to the child poverty rate in our country. Under President Biden, the Biden child tax credit cut child poverty in half. Because of their refusal to renew it and continue it, child poverty has more than increased. It's gone from 5.6 to 10 point something, or maybe it's up to 12 by now, certain communities. So this is sinful. Again, it's not about values. Our budget should be a statement of our values. And what is important to us as a nation should be reflected there. Our Constitution is what we take an oath to protect and defend. And in both cases, they're being frivolous.